Today, I'm going to find out if a Chinese knockoff of a Weber 3236 carburettor is any good. Let's get straight into it. This is the box that it comes in. This carburettor is $170 Australian, brand new delivered, which is incredibly cheap considering what people are asking these days for Weber 3236 used 40-year-old carburettors. So let's have a look at it. We get a gasket, which is handy. Looks like a choke conversion kit. It's an auto electric choke style thing there. Yeah, so it's fitted with a manual choke. It looks like a Weber. Twin downdraft 3236 because it's got a 32mm primary barrel and a 36mm secondary barrel. These are mechanical secondaries. You'll see as you bring the throttle on, the primary opens to a point and then mechanically it triggers the secondary, which also opens through the full range of the cycle. Like I said, this one's set up with manual choke, although there's a kit here, it looks like, to convert it over to electric choke, so that's pretty good. I mean, I haven't got a Weber 3236 here to compare it to, but it looks very similar, which I guess is no surprise considering it's a Chinese knockoff. So here's the test subject. This is a 1976 GD Galant. There's a whole bunch of shows, a whole bunch of videos on the channel about it. Did the paint and panel, interior, all that sort of stuff, put the engine in. The engine, this is a 2.6 litre 4G54 Astron, straight 4 petrol engine, very common for Mitsubishis and Chryslers throughout the 80s, 90s and into the 2000s in some markets, I think, but phased out in the 90s. This is a carburettor version. This carburettor here is, I think it's a Maikuni, is how the pronunciation is, and it's very complicated. There is a bunch of vacuum hoses, all sorts of weird ways that things open and close to work for emissions purposes and such, but for me, it's too complicated, it's not going to work, and the car seems to have, the engine seems to have a flat spot or it's not running right. So I can't dig into this thing and figure out how the vacuum's supposed to work because I didn't invent the thing, and I don't think anyone other than the guy who invented this knows how it works properly. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is I'm going to take that thing off and put that on. Okay, so the Maikuni's off and I've cleaned up the mating surface. There was a hole just here which coolant ran through. I think it ran into the carburettor, through that hole, and then through the manifold and out. I've had to plug that. I used a polymer compound. Sally's Need It was the brand. I've since pressure tested the radiator and cooling system's holding, so that's good. You have to leave that set for an hour or so. Movie magic has made it happen really quick for you guys, not so much for me. And so now I'm ready to install the Weber 3236. To do that, I had to pick up an adapter here. So I've put the studs in already. This adapter is going to sit on here. And you bolt these down, and then the Weber is going to sit on top. Of course, there's a gasket that goes between here and a gasket that sits on top. So I'll quickly install them on. I'll quickly install this, and then I'll put on the Weber, bring you back. Okay, so carb's installed. This is the accelerator cable here, and I'm going to need to make up some linkages, and depending on the application that you go to use this carby into, there'll be some little modification work required. A few bits and pieces came in the kit which don't look like they're going to work for me. I could ditch this cable and get something universal, but I'll try and make something work with what I've got. Also, you would have seen I flicked the fuel hose over, or the inlet on the fuel bowl here. I flicked the inlet over from this side to this side just for packaging issues. There's no reason that you'd want to run it complicated how I was going to do it, so I just straightened it up and it's a straight shot in from here. So next I'm going to make up a linkage to adjust this cable to the carb. All right, so this is what I managed to come up with. I've come up with this piece here, which is going to sit on there, and then the carb cable will route through there and go here. And then I've made up this piece here, which is going to screw into the top of the carb here, and then this bracket here is off the factory carburettor. The Mikuni is to sit over here. That'll screw onto there, and that'll be the standoff for the cable. Okay, it's all connected up. This throttle thing took me probably an hour and a half. It's been the hardest part of the job so far, or the most complex part of the job so far, I suppose, because I had to sort of fit it up, modify it, do a little bit of welding, cutting, fitting up, modifying sort of thing, but it works. I put my foot on the throttle before. It gets full throttle, which is good. So I'm going to crank it over and we'll fire it up, see if it starts out the box. I'm not sure how this thing's jetted, no idea at all. I haven't mucked with any of the settings, the idle setting or the fuel mixture or anything like that. I haven't even checked where it's set to, but I believe that's the idle stop screw there. I think that's the idle fuel screw down there, but I'm not sure. I need to fire it up and figure it out. So here we go. Well, it runs great. I messed around with the mixture, the idle mixture a little bit, seemed to find a sweet spot. But yeah, all in all, I think it's going to be a good thing. I'll update on its road performance once this project car is on the road. Thanks for watching. See you next time.